October 26, 2001, 25-year-old nursing assistant Chante Jawan Mallard murdered a 37-year-old Gregory Glenn Biggs, a homeless man, with her car. The force of the crash lodged Biggs into the windshield. Chante then drove home and left the man lodged in the windshield of her car. She then parked the car in her garage. She was fully aware there was a man dying in her windshield. He begged and pleaded for help, but she left him there. He died hours later, according to police. So, how did this happen? Why did she choose to murder this man? Let's dive into it. Part 1. The victim, where he was found, and the investigation. First, let's look at the victim. Who was Gregory Glenn Biggs? There isn't an awful lot we know about Biggs, but that's pretty common considering he was homeless for a long time. What we do know, he was born on August 16th, 1964. Although he lived with mental health problems all his adult life, he held a job in construction as a mason worker. At the moment of the events, Biggs was living in a state of homelessness, but was quoted as saying, "on an upswing," and he was getting back to a good life. I found that he was married previously, but I believe was divorced at the time. His life hadn't turned out anywhere close to how he expected. He had very little contact with family and was suspected to have a couple friends, if any. He spoke to his 19-year-old son Brandon 2 months before his death, and they spoke about reconnecting. So, where was the body found? On October 27th, the literal next day after the murder, Biggs' body was found in a park in Fort Worth, Texas. Police suspected that he had been hit by a car, but they didn't have a whole lot of evidence linking anyone to his death. The leads just weren't there. However, fast forward 4 months later to 2002, someone tipped police and told them that Chante Mallard talked about the incident at a party. She was reported to be laughing about the incident. She was quoted saying, "I hit this white man," followed by laughter. Safe to say this was pretty concerning, and immediately police looked at Chante Mallard as a potential suspect for the murder of Gregory Glenn Biggs. And this is where everything unraveled. Part 2. The suspect, how it happened, and why she did it. So, Chante Jawan Mallard is a woman from Fort Worth, Texas. She was born on June 22nd, 1976. Little is known about who Chante was as a person, but she was known to get around, if you know what I mean. But not just in that way, she was also known to frequently get drunk, do drugs, and commit petty crimes. She was reportedly racist on many occasions too. She wasn't a very good person, to put it clearly. That fateful night on October 26, 2001, she struck Biggs with her Chevrolet Cavalier. Biggs was a stranger to her. She had no idea who he was at the time. She somehow managed to drive home. Although her home was nearby, it's unbelievable that no one noticed her smashed windscreen and a guy literally hanging out of the front of the vehicle. Unfortunately, there wasn't a single witness to the events that occurred. She parked in her garage and reportedly spoke with Biggs. He was pleading for help, and Chante said sorry and then went upstairs to bed. Chante did not notify police, nor did she help Biggs in any medical way. Occasionally, she returned to the garage to check on the status of Biggs. He was stuck in the broken glass of the windscreen for hours before passing away. So why wouldn't Chante help this poor man? She was a nurse after all. It was a mistake. Her brother was also a firefighter, so she had every opportunity to save this man, even without the aid of authorities. Well, Chante was reportedly driving while intoxicated, with a combination of marijuana, ecstasy, and alcohol. An extremely deadly mix when combined with driving. She decided she would rather murder this man than face the consequences of her actions. As previously mentioned, Biggs' body was found the very next day, in a park. It's reported that once Chante was sure that Biggs had died, she called a male friend, Cleet Jackson, for help. Chante, Jackson, and Jackson's cousin took the body to a park and left it there, even going so far as to set fire to part of the car in an attempt to disguise evidence. Clearly, this didn't work out so well. Part 3. The autopsy, the trial, and the aftermath. On October 28th, the post-mortem examination of Gregory Biggs begins. A closer look at Biggs's body during the post-mortem examination revealed there was more to his death than investigators previously believed. He had a real major laceration across his lower abdomen, and there were many scratches across the body. He also had broken legs and a broken ankle, and they discovered an extremely crucial clue. They found lividity on his shoulders and other parts of his body. Lividity is a discoloration of the skin due to blood pooling in areas of the body, which in simple terms meant he didn't die on impact. Having seen lividity myself in an unrelated event, I can tell you that it's not pretty. But this was an important clue. It proved it wasn't a simple hit and run. It also proved that his body had been moved to a different location, i.e. the park. Other injuries suggested the body had been dragged along. Another huge clue. Once they knew this, a huge murder investigation started. Despite all of the post-mortem clues, they couldn't link anyone to it. They had no idea who was responsible. But as previously mentioned, Chante became a suspect after she was reportedly talking and laughing about the incident at a party 4 months after the events. Police interviewed Chante and everything fell apart. She told police everything. This footage features real audio recordings of the police interview.
You have anything to drink at T's house?
Yes, I had one drink. T had informed me that she had got an XP.
Do you mean ecstasy?
Yes. As I was going around the curve, I hit Mr. Biggs. Mr. Biggs came all the way inside of my car. I was scared, and I was asking God to tell me what to do.
Fast forward. Chante's trial commenced on June 23, 2003. During the trial, Tarrant County Medical Examiner Nizam Pirwani testified that had Chante taken Biggs to a hospital, he would have recovered from his injuries. Other experts testified that they agreed that Biggs would have survived. There's not a member of the Fort Worth Fire Department that could not have saved Mr. Biggs' life, testified Fire Captain Jim Souder. Chante had every chance to give medical assistance to this man, whether it be from herself, her friends and family, or the obvious, calling authorities. His life likely could have been spared even an hour after the incident. Chante pleaded a mix of not guilty to some charges and guilty to others.
Count 1. Did then and there intentionally or knowingly commit or attempt to commit a felony, to wit, failure to stop and render aid. Count 2. Did, knowing that an offense had been committed, alter and destroy and conceal evidence.
Ms. Mallard, you've heard the reading of the indictment. To count 1, you may plead guilty or not guilty.
Not guilty.
Let the record reflect the defendant has pled not guilty. And to count 2, you may plead guilty or not guilty.
Guilty.
Let the record reflect the defendant has pled guilty.
She pleaded not guilty to count 1, failure to render aid, aka failure to give medical treatment to Biggs, and she pleaded guilty to count 2, tampering with evidence, aka lighting the vehicle on fire to destroy evidence. The media attention on this case was astounding, but not unexpected. It's not your everyday hit and run murder. It's an extremely bizarre murder case. The prosecuting attorney, Christy Jack, made statements at the county courthouse, followed by the defense making a statement on behalf of Chante.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I want to tell you about a set of facts, about a crime, almost the perfect crime. A body found in a park, lying on its back, partially clothed, looking as though it had been brutally beaten. But it wasn't. Obviously dead, but he didn't die there. What you're going to hear, ladies and gentlemen, is how Chante Jawan Mallard, with the help of her friends, nearly got away with murder.
It was dark, and to many, it became the darkest night of all. And she was in an altered state. Her mind was challenged with alcohol, marijuana, and a drug called ecstasy.
The defense was interesting. From my interpretation, they tried to make out ecstasy as the evil driving force for the events that night. But further trial interviews of people involved, i.e. Cleet Jackson most notably. It was extremely easy for the prosecutors to make their case. In this footage, we can see Cleet Jackson on trial, telling us the events leading up to the murder.
And any time before you went to the club, did you have a conversation with Chante Mallard about going to the club?
Yes.
Did y'all make any plans to hook up together that night?
Yes.
Did the plans at that point include you going home together that night?
Yes.
And when you saw her, did you notice anything about her condition? Did she look intoxicated?
Sort of, yes.
She looked high?
Sort of, yes.
Did you ask her if she'd taken anything?
You just asked her what was wrong.
Okay, and what'd she say?
She said she wasn't feeling good, said she was high. She said she gave Chante ecstasy.
And had you known Chante to use ecstasy before that date?
Never.
Did she smoke any marijuana that night?
With me?
With you?
Yes, sir.
It was made clear that everyone involved knew exactly what happened, and they were even doing drugs prior to the murder. The medical examiner who conducted the post-mortem made his statements at trial, and this was the nail to the coffin of Chante Jawan Mallard. The trial went on with many more people interviewed. Even Brandon Biggs was on trial, the son of Gregory. Chante can be seen crying during his testimony, and finally, Chante was put on trial. She immediately broke down.
I have put people through pain. And I am so truly sorry. I am so sorry, Brandon.
As much as some may feel sorry seeing her cry, we must remember how reckless and careless she was for another human being. The trial concluded with her being convicted of murder. She was sentenced to 50 years for murder and 10 years for tampering with evidence. She will be eligible for parole in 2027. Personally, I'm not sure I agree with the eligibility for parole so soon, but other than that, it was a welcome sentencing. Some justice was done. Afterwards, Brandon Biggs chose to forgive Chante for the murder of his father. He was quoted, "I want to extend my forgiveness to Chante Mallard and let her know that the Mallard family is in my prayers." And in response, convicted murderers from around the country raised $10,000 as a college scholarship and had it presented at a ceremony to Brandon, who at the time was a 20-year-old sophomore. And for those of you asking what happened to Cleet Jackson, he was sentenced to 10 years in prison for moving Biggs' body. Since finishing the sentence, he has been in and out of prison on firearms and drug-related charges. He was released again in late November 2017. Since the trial has concluded, many films and TV show episodes have been made about this tragic murder. Let me know your thoughts below.